Anxiety is defined as a feeling of unease, characterized by fear or worry, which can be accompanied by physical symptoms. In 2017, the World Health Organization estimated that 264 million people were living with anxiety disorders. Despite their prevalence, many people with anxiety receive little support. Therefore, an increasingly common way of managing anxiety is to join an online forum. In their book, Language, Discourse and Anxiety, Luke Collins and Paul Baker of Lancaster University examine one such forum, using sophisticated software to analyze these messages and identify patterns that would have been difficult to spot with the human eye. They analyzed over 300,000 messages posted by almost 18,000 contributors, a total of 21 million words. What insights can we learn from this as to how people on the forum understand anxiety? One of the most common ways was to view anxiety as a medical condition, referring to it as an illness or disorder. People described how they were diagnosed with anxiety and discussed the possibility of being cured. However, others disagreed with this view, describing anxiety as a normal part of life, using much vaguer sounding phrases like, "this anxiety stuff." Some contributors personified anxiety, referring to it as a monster, enemy, bully, or a beast. They described anxiety as playing tricks on them, following them, or trying to beat them. However, others saw anxiety as an abstract entity, referring to it as a journey, a trap, a vicious circle, or a game. Finally, some people described anxiety as part of themselves. They referred to my anxiety, whereas other people referred to it as distinct from them, being more likely to call it the anxiety. The research found that age played an important role in the ways that people approached anxiety. Younger contributors often used a form of language called catastrophizing when describing their anxiety. This involved an all-or-nothing perspective, with people describing how they felt constantly anxious or completely numb. Middle-aged contributors were more likely to suggest counseling or medication as ways of coping with anxiety, while older contributors tended to suggest it was helpful to undertake everyday activities such as walking the dog or taking a bath. There were also gender differences. Women tended to provide more support, empathy, and emotional encouragement. They saw anxiety as part of their personality and talked about living with it. Men tended to seek information about anxiety, its causes and symptoms. They saw their anxiety as temporary and wanted to find a solution or cure. Some felt they should man up rather than admit to having anxiety and used metaphors around fighting it. However, some argued that the toughest men are actually the ones who talk about their own anxiety. The research indicates that people understand anxiety in very different ways, some of which may exacerbate rather than help. It's therefore important to draw attention to the ways that people talk about anxiety, as this can impact on their well-being and happiness. The research contributes towards ongoing efforts to better understand anxiety by engaging with the voices and reports of those who experience it.